What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, that is Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. All right, Tigers win. LSU blows out Purdue 63-7. Many thanks to everybody who hung out with us yesterday on Whiskey and Wine post game. Good way to end the season. Tigers get a big win, and you go off into this off season now with that the feel good in your belly, erasing all the, maybe not entirely, but much of the disappointment of the loss to A&M, and what happened in the SEC championship game as well. So um, you get to 10 wins, and you really give yourself a boost going into 2023. So work to do to finish out the roster. We'll see if there are any coaching changes made on staff. Not that I'm suggesting anything with respect to the rumors, which we'll talk about here in a second, but more so, it's just really hard to keep an entire coaching staff together year to year. So we'll talk about that as well. So, and then we'll have more draft announcements. I think I've mentioned a couple times. I'm expecting John Emery is going to declare for the draft. So, we'll wait on the other draft announcements from guys who maybe put it off until after the bowl game. So, we'll see if anything else comes of that. So, really good Rose Bowl game yesterday. Well, actually, not really. Penn State kind of waxed Utah. Really good Cotton Bowl. TCU or a Tulane rallies and beats USC. What a game down in Tampa with Mississippi State beating Illinois. First game since Mike Leach's death. And I see a lot of y'all are posting about it as well, about Demar Hamlin. I was watching Monday Night Football last night. If you missed it, it'll be hard to miss at this point. But if you weren't watching last night, Demar Hamlin, who's a safety for the Bills, was going to make a tackle on T. Higgins. And it looked very routine. I mean, it's bizarre and certainly scary. But it didn't look like anything out of the ordinary. But Demar Hamlin suffered cardiac arrest on the field. Like he medically died. His heart stopped beating. So they had to use an AED and perform CPR on the field. So they have him intubated at the hospital, and I'm looking at SportsCenter right now. And medically sedated. So, man, critical condition, but hoping for the best here for Demar Hamlin. Wow. Okay, we can, let's say some good mornings here. Of course, whatever y'all got, you know the drill, fire away. We'd love to get to anything y'all got. Say our good mornings here. Truax, Devin Johnson, what's good? Lance Richard, Kelly Gross, Dane Bergeron. What's up, Dane? Good morning, man. Good to see Dane yesterday over at Den Wine Cigar Bar. Robbie White, what's going on, man? Like to know your thoughts on the Skip Bayless tweet. Are people overreacting to it? So for those that didn't see it, I don't want to paraphrase, so let me read you Skip Bayless's tweet. So if you're on Twitter last night when all the Demar Hamlin reaction was pouring in, Skip Bayless tweeted, and he's under a lot of fire for it. He tweeted, "No doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game. But how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant." I mean, he did, and so people are furious at him. He did add at the end, which suddenly seems so relevant, obviously, the regular season outcome. I mean, Robbie, I'll put it to you this way. I think The only appropriate thing to say in that moment is, who cares about this game? It's the only appropriate thing to say. Is, who cares about this game? Um, and it's the honest truth. Like, but it ain't just Skip Bayless. I mean, the NFL tried to get him to resume the game. If y'all were watching it, the NFL gave those dudes 5 minutes to get warm again, and nobody moved. And ultimately, the coaches pulled their players to the locker room off the field. Like, they were going to give those dudes 5 minutes to get warm again and go play the game. Like, there was no initial consideration from the NFL about postponing the game, which is a very sad commentary about the reality of what the NFL cares about. I understand logistically the difficulties in trying to reschedule a game. You have TV partners, you have ticketing, you have vendors, stadium vendors, parking concessions, all of that stuff. You have ad dollars that have been spent, money that ESPN has spent to carry Monday Night Football, on and on and on and on. Then there's balance of play and fairness with if a team is going to be playing on Tuesday, all that stuff. There's a lot of logistics, no doubt, tons of logistics, and none of it matters at all. Not a lick. Like, figure it out. Who cares? Like, a guy literally medically died on the field and had to be brought back to life. Like, 5 minutes, go get warm. Anyway, so yes, I think that's the only thing that anybody should have been saying. The thing about Skip Bayless is he's paid to be that guy. He's paid to be that character, that guy that just gets attention. And he's fantastic at it. But I don't follow Skip Bayless on Twitter because I don't want or care to hear that nonsense. It's also why I don't watch pro wrestling. It's fake. Just know what you're getting into. Megan Hurst, good morning. Hey, Dad, good morning. Ryan Amanda Guidry, Matthew Garner. Did Kelly at the press conference say he wasn't making coaching changes? Can he really keep Polian in his current position? It's funny that that's what you brought up was Polian, because all the talk the past day or so has been about the internet rumors, which, warn y'all again, man. People say it, but it's true. Just because you read on the internet doesn't mean it's true. Always consider the source. Things I try to tell y'all all the time, man. And it's so sad. So no, what Brian Kelly said post game, he was asked point blank if all of the coaches on his staff were in good standing with the program and the university. That's the way the question was phrased. And he said, yes, hold myself and everyone in this program to a high standard, and everyone has met that standard. So essentially, Brian Kelly debunked the rumors of, the party, etc. And it's what I told y'all yesterday. It'll go away because nobody alleged to have been involved is going to talk about it on the record. So it's going to go away. That will be the last thing said about it, at least from an official LSU capacity. Now, as far as Polian, yeah, I mean, we've talked about that all year. I fully expect Polian's going to be back on staff at some capacity. Brian Kelly just values him too much. Now, do they move him from special teams to another role? I don't know that. But I don't think Brian Polian is getting fired. Jeb Whitley, what's up? Alex Day, good morning. Is there really going to be a quarterback competition in the spring? I think you can always have a competition, Alex, but I think we know how that would go. And maybe the competition part of it, well, actually, let me rephrase that. No, I don't think there's going to be like an open competition. Brian Kelly even said after the game point blank, like, there is no controversy. Jaden's our starter. Like, he said that point blank in his post-game press conference. So, no, I think it's just if you have two guys that are good and you're trying to find a way to get the other guy reps and evaluate his play, that's what they did. And, Garrett made some really nice plays yesterday. We know he's got a lively arm. We know he's willing to go at tempo and chuck it down the field. And he made some really nice plays. And he also threw an interception in the end zone. It's like the thing, listen, I'll say this again. you can be a big fan of the good things that Nussmeier does on the field, and he does a lot of them. Like, I'm not denying that. He is a D1 quarterback. He's uh, I love the moxie. He certainly has the arm strength. I mean, like when he plants his foot and he flips his hips, man, he can sling it. I mean, he made a pass on the sideline to Malik on a third down play. I think it was a 3rd and 8. It was a beautiful pass, man. Like, there's a lot that he does very well. And you can acknowledge that. But you have to also acknowledge that every game he plays, he is careless with the football. He threw an interception in the end zone. I get it. You're up big. I get it. You're up really big in the game. And so you could say, well, who cares? Or like the interception he threw in a double coverage against Georgia. Well, they were down by 4 touchdowns, which is true. But what about when you're not and you make that play? Like, that's the problem. And every game he plays, he commits those turnovers. Literally all of them. So if you can ever find a way to purge that out of him, then he could be an awesome player. But we just haven't seen it. So, no, I don't think there's... Brian Kelly told you there's no competition. Armstrong grappling, great season for Brian Kelly and the squad. No, let's get ready for the #1 baseball team in the country. Yeah, man. Basketball tonight against Kentucky also, by the way, up in Lexington. Big boy Hard Knocks. Yeah, man. Jason H., Tim Gotro, Jesse Brown, good morning. How about Cam Jordan saying the Saints sack record? Yeah, man, we did talk about it, Jesse, a little bit yesterday on the show. And, growing up a Saints fan, really the first era of Saints football I watched were those teams, the Mora teams, right? The late 80s, early 90s. So Bobby Hebert, Cam Hayward, not Cam, sorry, Ironhead Hayward, Craig Hayward. Wow. Dalton Hilliard, Dome Patrol. So, dudes like Reuben Mays and Brett Maxey and, yeah, man, Toy Cook. Those are my first memories of watching Saints. So, to see Ricky Jackson's record fall was pretty cool. And Cam Jordan's certainly worthy. Trivia Carter, what's up, man? Weston Weaver, morning, Matt. Yesterday was fun to watch. Curious your thoughts on the quarterback situation during the game. Does it complicate things? Just a bold thing to give them an opportunity? Yeah, I mean, I think Brian Kelly even addressed it afterwards. Like, there's no controversy. I think it was just an opportunity that they had predetermined that they were going to get Garrett in the game, and they wanted him to play well. So they went 2 for Jaden, 1 for Garrett, 2 for Jaden, 1 for Garrett. Jaden scored to start the second half, and then his day was done. It was 42. So that's when Malik threw the touchdown pass to Jaden. So it was 42-0. And then Greg Brooks got the interception on the ensuing possession. Then Nussmeier played the rest of the third quarter. Then Walker Howard played the fourth quarter. I think it was great just to get all those guys playing time and experience. Russell Jory, morning, Matt. Any idea why we didn't see plays like Malik's touchdown pass when it could have been helpful, like during the A&M game? No. I don't have an idea. And that question is a valid one. Like, you had that in your bag. Malik threw 2 passes in the game yesterday. Sometimes you don't want to, risk it, but, sometimes you need to. Bowl games, sometimes you will see coaches empty their bag of tricks. And Mike Denbrock was on full tilt yesterday, man. Almost 600 yards offense, 63 points. You saw trick plays. You saw Malik scoring the 75-yard jet sweep, which went down as a 75-yard touchdown pass from Nussmeier because he did the shovel to him as he came in motion. But that was all. I mean, that was all Malik being just a better athlete than the 11 dudes wearing black jerseys. But yeah, man, it was fun to watch. Shane Bigfella, good morning. Sean Comiskey, good morning. What's the best scenario for the Saints? Peyton comes back, gets multiple second rounders, restructured deals, trying to find something to look forward to. So, Sean, to be very clear, I don't think Sean Payton is coming back to the Saints this year. They're a 7-win team. If they beat Buffalo at home on Sunday, Carolina at home on Sunday, they're 8-9. I think, and they're not going to fire Dennis Allen for that. So I think Sean Payton returning to New Orleans with this 3-game win streak, that conversation goes away. And that's okay. I mean, that's okay. I'd rather my team win. So, the Saints, one of the reports on Sunday was the Saints won a first rounder for Sean Payton. Now, who's willing to give up that first rounder? We'll see. And we'll see if they can get it. But I think that's your best case scenario is, and as far as you're saying restructuring deals, like you're going to have to restructure contracts and you're going to have to cut certain players. I mean, they're $160 million over the cap or whatever. Well, or is it 60 million? Let me check real quick. The Saints are presently 57 million. I said 160. They're 57 million over the cap right now. So they still got work to do to get there. Y'all smash that like button if you would. Facebook, please like the page, share the post. Let's see. Brian Broom, Chris Laborde, Bubba Smith, Clarence Saison, good morning. Todd Harris, what's going on? David Foote, what's going on? Lowell Cormier, Matt, Bama has Aflac. AT&T is promoting Georgia, USC, and Notre Dame. The only thing helping LSU is our NFL players and a few media guys. Is LSU behind in the no holds bar NIL era? I don't know why you assume Bama has Aflac, and AT&T has Georgia, USC, and Notre Dame. It doesn't mean those companies are doing NIL deals with players or are funding the NIL coffers. I would actually push back and say that's certainly not happening because those companies might also have deals with other schools. And then those other schools would say, well, we're your partner as well. Why aren't you contributing to our NIL opportunities? So I think your basis for the question is incorrect, Lowell. The question, though, is LSU behind is valid, and the answer is yes, I guess, depending on who you're comparing LSU to. I was told LSU has, that when LSU tried to organize their collective Go Enterprises last year, they put a target goal at $5 million raised or pledged for the collective. And a few weeks ago when I asked, it was short of $3 million. They were in the twos somewhere. So, by comparison, a place like Auburn reportedly has $13 million in their NIL coffers. What I would suggest here, Lowell, is the shift you're probably going to see as the market adjusts is more retention instead of acquisition. What I mean is, I think you're going to start seeing, these collectives paying more to retain their current players and prevent them from jumping in the transfer portal than acquiring high school players. And I think A&M is going to end up being the lesson, the test case there, where they spent all this money to sign the best class ever, and after 1 year, that entire class is basically gone. And they were 5 and 7. So that was not money well spent, clearly. So I think that's probably going to be the lesson, as you'll see. Yeah, they're not going to spend money on signing high school kids. Not to say that's not going to happen, but you're going to see less of that and more of give the NIL deal to your star player to prevent him from leaving. David Furr, Charlie Cavell, Scott Beckham, Matthew Garner, what's going on? Gerald Mathern, what's going on? Clarence, hilarious whiskey and wine. Thanks, man. Appreciate y'all watching. Henry Gordon Bennett, Lincoln Riley is so over Louisiana. Go Tigers. Jerry, good morning. I haven't performed CPR. It's a very traumatic scene for everyone. Prayers are with Demar Hamlin and his family. No doubt, man. I mean, on a football field, golly, 30 minutes down on the field, it's crazy. David Furr, best thing about yesterday's game was no visible drop-off when the young guys came in. Speaks to our depth and culture. I'll tell you, David, that was no more evident than on the defensive line. Remember, you were already down Ali Gay, Jaquelin Roy, and B.J. Ojulari. And when you, despite being down those guys, your defensive front completely dominated that game. I mean, that your defensive front seven absolutely annihilated that Purdue offensive line. So that for me was the biggest storyline of the game, with Jacoby and Guillory, Mekhi Wingo, Xavier Carter, Savion Jones. Later in the game, you ended up seeing, there was a point in the fourth quarter where you had Quincy Wiggins, Fitzgerald West. Who am I missing? Quincy Wiggins, Fitzgerald West, Ty G. Hill, and Jordan Allen at safety. I mean, all those dudes were on the field together at once in the fourth quarter. There was no drop-off. So it was really good to see that. Guillory had 3 tackles and a forced fumble. No, I'm sorry, the forced fumble was Perkins, my bad. Quincy Wiggins had a couple of tackles. Fitzgerald West had a couple of tackles. It was good to see those guys play really well. As always, I'll shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. You need an orthopedist, Brock, they're the best, man. brortho.com. All the subspecialties, check them out. Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. We got flood warnings in Baton Rouge today. It's supposed to rain all day. And I tell you this all the time. When it rains, that's typically when our phones blow up. People, when it rains is when you realize you got a roof leak. You'll see water spots forming on your ceiling. Sometimes water comes down your roof. You get water in your house. It's a really good indicator. Confirmation you got roof damage. So better way to go about it. Let us come take a look. Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. It's pinned right there in the chat. So click that link, fill out the form on the homepage. Take you 30 seconds. We'd love to give you a free, no obligation roofing inspection, no matter where you are in the state of Louisiana. Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Brad David, we got planned for the show this afternoon. Yeah, I'm excited to be back on AFR. That's always a great telltale whenever that you love what you do. Whenever you're gone, and when it's time to go back, you're excited. Like I'm excited to go back. So yeah, man. We'll obviously talk about the game, the Citrus Bowl, the quarterback situation, the young guys that played really well. Again, I'm expecting we're gonna have some draft announcements. Like I told you, my guy could always change his mind. My understanding is the staff is expecting John Emery's going to declare, so we might get that announcement today. LSU Kentucky in basketball today. Pels lost last night. Of course, Saints season is they've been mathematically now eliminated from the postseason. So one game to go here. We'll mostly look ahead to the offseason for the Saints. Hunter Broadhead, Taz, what's going on? Should LSU be the favorite in the West next year? Yeah, Taz, that's something we talked about yesterday on Whiskey and Wine. I brought it up. That I believe so. That's something else we can get into. But yes, I think we should see. The only other debatable part of this would be Bama, I think. And Bama replacing Bryce Young is it's just a massive piece. It's not to say they can't do it. I mean, they replaced Jalen Hurts with Tua and replaced Tua with Bryce Young. So history says Nick's got another great one in line, and probably does. So, but until they do it, they haven't done it. So, Brett DeGrow, Farron, Olivier, what's going on? Let's see. Shane, thoughts on the Bills-Bengals game? Yeah, man. Talked about that a little bit as we started. I don't know that I can add anything that anybody else has said other than I was watching the game live. When I saw Demar Hamlin stand up and collapse, I just thought he passed out, which I've seen plenty in MMA. It's sort of a delayed reaction when a guy gets hit and then sort of, has that oxygen deficiency or the blood flow cut off, and then they collapse and they come to. I mean, the guy suffered cardiac arrest. I mean, his heart stopped beating. It's terrifying. I mean, I think the great news is that they got his heartbeat back. He was he wasn't breathing, so they have him intubated. Um, but the fact that he's alive is the best news. Yeah, man, it's just jarring watching that last night. God, I felt awful for I thought ESPN, I hate to say this, man, but because I don't know that there's really a great way to handle that, but ESPN kept going back to the studio, and it was Susie, Booger, and Adam Schefter, and they had nothing to say. And so they just kept going round and round in the circle, having the same conversation about how all anybody cared about was Demar Hamlin, which is true, but anyway, just terrible situation. Carlos Vaughn, what's going on? Gary Petrie, good morning. Glad to see the Tigers get to 10 wins. Thoughts and prayers for Demar Hamlin, yes. Tim Gotro, Jay Crane said that Skip Bayless is at this point one elephant and a bag of peanut toy from a circus clown. Tom Granick, Jay Benoit, what's going on? Leon Williams, Taz, I think TCU will beat the Bulldogs. Bulldogs are suspect versus the pass. TCU will be amped. Their motion will win them the game. I'll tell you what, Taz, let me see, what is the line on that game? I mean, I'll absolutely have TCU in the points. Georgia's going to be favoring the game, but I will absolutely have a play on, I'll tell you flatly, I'll have a play on TCU in the points, and I would not be surprised at all if they win the game. They have been consistently solid all year, and are not in this position by fluke. It's not by accident. Like, they're a really legitimately good football team, and Georgia is susceptible to the pass. The line's 13.5, which is stunning to me. I will absolutely be playing TCU in the points. Janet, good morning. RC was wonderful in SVP last night. He was. Jay Benoit, LSU Daily. We'll get back to that today, man. Irfan Sayad, what's going on? Trivia Carter, what did pro wrestling do to you, Matt? They don't belong in the same place as Skip. Just in the fact that they're both fake trivia. Jay Geiger, morning Scone, thoughts on the performance of the young guys yesterday? Yeah, man. Mentioned the defensive lineman, which I thought was super encouraging. How about Landon Ibieta getting his first couple of receptions of his career, which was great to see. I think the receiver group, even without Kayshawn, Jure, Jack Besh, showed that they're in really good hands. So a lot to be excited about. We got to see Marlon Martinez play a lot of center yesterday. Late in the game, Garrett Dellinger played center also. And then thank you. Carlos mentioned Derek Davis, who, of course, entered the transfer portal. But when the NCAA allowed the rule for players to play in the bowl game and not have it count toward their eligibility, he came back and played in the game. So I would love to see Derek Davis stay. I think as a running back, he certainly has shown he can be a weapon, and I would love to see him stay. But I don't know, Carlos. That's another decision I'm assuming we'll get soon here. Joey Vincent, what's going on? Joey B19, you say consider the source, but didn't you get it from 2 reliable sources also? Joey B, okay, let me go over this again. What I told you was, are the allegations plausible? Sure, but I also told you that I didn't confirm them. I couldn't confirm. And is it possible that it was not valid? Yes. I said that, like, there's no way to prove it because the principles of the matter aren't going to talk about it. And I told you, snoring again, that it was people that I deem credible. And for that, I couldn't believe it took as long as it did for the story to get out. But I also didn't report the news, right? It would have been one thing if I had taken the information that I had gotten and I had gone publicly and reported this as news citing sources, which I did not do. I only said after you all started asking me about it that it's something I had heard about. There's a big difference. But again, that's why the era of internet media it's challenging, man. It's challenging for those of us who cover teams, and it's even more challenging for people who consume media to know what to believe and what to trust. Tommy Poole, morning, Matt. Where's beautiful baby Drew? He's sleeping, man. Back to school tomorrow for Drew. He's gonna get a rude awakening when I go stir him at 8 o'clock. He slept till 11:30 yesterday. I was already gone to Don Juan by the time he woke up. Jason H, bad news, Birds lost again. Yeah, tough loss in Philly yesterday. Carter Harris, what's going on? Nuss probably going to transfer to TCU. Walker will be our number 2. The incoming fresh will be number 3. Fine with me. Keep in mind about Walker as well, man. You know, I think Walker is one that you gotta watch. Was Walker willing to sit for 2 years? Yeah, we'll see. Jason Mabio, classic whiskey and wine. When he thought T-Bob couldn't outdo himself with a live burp, he goes and verbally gropes Jordy's wife. What's wrong with that dude? So the burp, I don't even think was his fault. So Wyatt Vaughn, who's our on-site tech, fired up the live stream and T-Bob didn't know we were live, and so he just lets out this huge belch. And so that's literally how whiskey and wine started yesterday. But I put that. I will give T-Bob a pass. I put that one on Wyatt, which is okay. But I mean, there were far worse things you could do. But that one, like, he didn't know, and he probably would have burped anyway. It doesn't matter. But anyway, but yes, then we're congratulating the Coladas, and T-Bob made what I would deem very inappropriate comments about Kelly. Anyway, who's a beautiful woman, but it's like T-Bob's wife was like right behind us too. He is a one of one for sure. Did you see Malik in the post game downplay his performance, focus on the 3 drops? I did. Malik's the number 1. He's going to be. I mean, he was awesome this year. He was your leading receiver this year, but he's a legit true number 1, and we'll have a great opportunity next year to have a true breakout season and potentially be a first-round pick. Do you see Peyton going to the Broncos? I do not, Leon. I think Arizona, if they fire Kingsbury, is probably more likely. Carter Harris, LSU baseball is going to smash. I agree. Jonathan Martin, good morning. Tom Granig. Anyone heard any Drew Brees comments after the game? I did not. Trivia, what's the point of continuing to win when the playoffs is off the table? What do you mean? God, it's storming. I'll be careful out there with this rain today, man. Kenneth Polt, Taz, give Tulane some love. They beat USC. Yeah, man, I played Tulane. I had Tulane in the 2.5 yesterday. So, biggest win in that program's history in 90 years, like literally since the 30s. So, yeah, huge. Bailey C, what's going on? Tom Grant of the Ole Miss Grove Collective has over 10 million. I think there's a lot of them that do, man. Dalton Barnett, Josh Williams, number 18. Perkins Neighbors, number 7. I know you don't care, but if I had to guess, yeah, I don't care. Larry Connor, what's going on? Matt, do you think Nuss is going to transfer? Larry, I get asked that question every day, and I just want to be very clear. I don't have any insight. Okay, I'm not telling you I know anything because I don't. But I just judging the current state of college football, yes, I do. I don't think he's going to sit a 3rd year behind Jaden Daniels. So he can find a place and go be a starter next year. I mean, someone mentioned TCU, which, I mean, go through a pass, to Jack Bash, playing that offense with Sonny Dykes. Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. So, Pat Huseman, good morning. Anyone know how the Purdue player that got hurt is doing? I don't, Pat. There was a Purdue player that was taken off on a stretcher yesterday, and I will say, like, I did see him moving his lower body. I think they were just stabilizing his neck. I'd say just stabilizing his neck. I mean, but yes, I don't want to speculate. You know what? Let me see if Purdue football has updated him. And man, that was like with 3 minutes left in the game too. That was just, not that it's ever okay, but shoot. Oh, here you go. Deion Burks. He tweeted, thank you for your concern. Your support means everything. I'm doing well. So Deion Burks tweeted. He tweeted he's doing well. All right, smash that like button if you would. Appreciate you being there. 165 watching live on YouTube, on Facebook. 61 there. As always, shout out to Brock, Hudco. Mentioned Restored Motions as well. If you got pain, book a session with Crystal Poche. And ProCharge EV, electric vehicle charging station. State of Louisiana is going to spend some $80 million on electric vehicle charging stations and infrastructure. So learn more at ProChargeEV.com. Electric vehicle charging stations for your home or business. Click the link to learn more, ProChargeEV.com. Let's see. Earl Lytle, good morning. Jacob Falcon, I think he put Nuss out there so he could put more tape out there to transfer. I don't think that's what he was doing. Tyler Alexander, morning, bro. Any idea why I don't get notified when you go live? I don't know, Tyler. My recommendation when that's happened is unfollow the page, refollow the page, and then set notifications. Because some people have said that on Facebook before. Charlie Cavell, Michael Cook, good morning. Todd Harris played a depleted team, but LSU did what it should do. They did not play down to Purdue. That's true. They did exactly what we needed to see them do, which was just go blow the doors off an undermanned team. Kirk Taylor, Sam Dixon, great seeing the young Tigers play with hunger and passion. Ryan Amanda Guidry, good morning. Emil Buddy Ray, morning Scone. Thanks for another great season of Whiskey and Wine. I'll never forget my 61-year-old mom calling me after Bama game to find out how to watch UNT because she watches you guys at my house with me. Awesome. That's awesome. Bob Poole, Scott Beckham, what's going on? George is going to crush TCU. I disagree, man. Like, I will 100% take TCU and the points. And I think that is going to be a really good game. You've got to forget about the logos on the helmets, man. Because the only team that many of us were given a chance to beat Georgia was Michigan because of the physicality on the line of scrimmage, their running game, their elite defense, and TCU went and just pounded them. Like, TCU ain't a fluke, bro. Like, they're not a fluke. They're not just a good story. That's a really talented college quarterback in a system with a coach that suits him very well. They have got skill guys on the outside that they got via the portal and that match very well at Sonny Dykes' offense. The defense has been phenomenal all year. And I'm here to tell you, bro, the last two games, we've seen that Georgia defense get shredded by LSU and Ohio State. And yes, TCU is capable of doing the same thing. Bennett Sia, what's good? Morning, Matt. Did I hear right? Bama's won 11 games, 14 years straight. Wow. That's got to be right. The only year where Bama won 10 games under Saban was it was 2010. They were 10-2 and then blew out Michigan State in the Citrus Bowl. So, yeah, I mean, going back to 2008, T-Bob's in the doghouse. Let's see. A couple more, y'all. Tulane 15-point comeback was great. Great day for Louisiana. Willie Fritz should be coach of the year. He did. He won the Bobby Dodd coach of the year. But, I mean, the national coach of the year should absolutely be Sonny Dykes. I mean, he took over a team that was sub 500 a year ago and has them in the national championship game. Let's get real. Rick Cass, good morning from Leon, Colorado. 16 degrees. Let's see, Joey B. Read the other day, A&M only lost 6 players out of the 30 from that historic class to the portal. Most of the backups in the previous classes. Irfan Sayad, do you have any information on the Purdue wide receiver guy? Just talked about that. Yeah, he tweeted he's doing fine, which is great news. Brett DeGrow, I'm going back to work tomorrow after 12 days off, and I'm pissed. So what does that mean? It means you don't love your job. Jared Esprit, top of the morning. Brian Kelly gave us a post-game interview. Keeping our coaches and quarterbacks, despite the rumors, I'm ready for next year. He didn't give a post-game interview, Jared. That was the post-game press conference, like the mandated media availability. And he was asked in the post-game if his coaching staff was in good standing, and he said yes. Howard, so make of that what you will. Howard Jr., top of the day. Devin Kelly, how does a perfectly healthy 24-year-old with no pre-existing conditions have a heart attack? He didn't have a heart attack. Like, he got hit in the chest and his heart stopped beating. Bengal Tiger, LSU was great, and of course I loved it. But as much as it pains me to say, tip of the cap to Tulane would have come back. Yep. Kevin Boudreaux played the money line on Tulane versus USC and won. So happy for Tulane to say Louisiana in football. Kevin Triforos. Let's see. Ronnie Duga, SVP, and RC did a great job. They did. Howard Jr., what's going on? Nicholas Cantrell, good morning. Spurge, good morning. Brian Turner, TCU team reminds me mid-2000s West Virginia with Pat White. This game reminds me when Georgia got upset in the Sugar Bowl in 06, when Bama lost in 13 and OU. In the Sugar Bowl, yeah. Was that 13 or was it 14? I thought that Sugar Bowl was 14. Because 14 was... 14 was the first year of the playoff. Oh, that was when Ohio State beat Bama. That's right. Ohio State beat Bama in the Sugar Bowl in 14, in the first year of the play. That was Cardell Jones. So the 13 Sugar Bowl was the Trevor Knight Oklahoma team that beat Bama. Matt, do you feel we escaped something by not hiring Riley? Would he have had success here as well? Yeah, Bradley, I think Lincoln Riley would have done great here. I think they put up a ton of points yesterday without Jordan Addison at receiver. And their problem all season this year was their defense was atrocious. If you watched USC play, their defense was terrible all year. Yesterday wasn't a one-off for that defense. They were bad all year. And they were bad yesterday. So he knows what he's got to do. He's got to go recruit. Remember, that was a team that won 5 games a year ago. Were they 5-7 or 4-8, whatever they were a year ago? The more the Saints win, the more reason Dennis stays. He needs to go. Trivia, I hear you, man, but I'd rather my team win. So, maybe Dennis Allen is turning the corner as a head coach. Maybe not, but I'd still rather see my team win. T-Bop was off the rails last night. Devin Kelly, I read heart attack on various news sources, not cardiac arrest. Brother, I'm looking at the statement from the Buffalo Bills. I'll read you the statement from the Buffalo Bills. No one has said heart attack. Whatever. See, again, consider the source. Whatever you read was, if that's what you read, was incorrect. The statement from the Buffalo Bills, Demar Hamlin suffered a cardiac arrest following a hit in our game versus the Bengals. His heartbeat was restored on the field. He was transferred to the UC Medical Center for further testing and treatment. He's currently sedated and listed in critical condition. That was 7 hours ago. Ooh, hang on one second. Man, I have a feeling this is going to be a day where Drew sleeps all day. It's so dark in the room because of all the rain and how overcast it is. Which means tomorrow is going to be a really tough wake up for him. Because tomorrow at this point, we'll be walking out the door to bring him to school. And that's going to be a tough wake up. So, anyway, okay, Damon Perkins, Jason Mobile tried to destroy the like button, but it seems like others beat me to it. Kenneth Smither, Matt, is this common? Alabama got more insurance for all the draft eligible players to keep them to play in the bowl game instead of skipping. Not that I know of. Janet said, Matt, who do you think will be the best quarterback in the SEC next year? Oh, hang on. Let me run through them. Well, you just start with the fact that Bryce Young will be gone. Stetson Bennett will be gone. I think you would probably start, Janet, with Will Rogers. Will Rogers, I believe, led the league in passing this year. And he's back at Mississippi State. And then Jaden's back at LSU. Yeah, so here you go. Your passing leaders this year in the league: Will Rogers, Stetson Bennett, Bryce Young, Hendon Hooker. The top 4 gone. 5 is Spencer Rattler, who could come back to South Carolina. Jackson Dart at Ole Miss, who obviously could return, but there's rumors of them pursuing a quarterback in the portal as well. Spencer Sanders from Oklahoma State is who they're reportedly. Then Jaden. Then Brady Cook from Missouri. KJ Jefferson's back at Arkansas. Anthony Richardson's going pro. Will Levis is going pro. Robbie Ashford, AJ Swan, Haynes King. So you're basically looking at Will Rogers, Jaden Daniels, KJ Jefferson, Jackson Dart, Brady Cook. I mean, this was a great year for quarterbacks in the league. Next year, unless if they do a lot of work in the portal, not so much. Where are we? Darren Reeves, Jeff McKithen, Lisa Strain, good morning. Let's see, where are we? A couple more. Jackson Carter, as long as New Orleans and the Dolphins finish in the same spot in the standings, I'm good with whatever happens Sunday. Road game in Miami next fall. And Guy Brooks, good morning, Matt. I enjoy the LSU Tigers and Citrus Bowl. Sorry I missed Whiskey and Wine. All good, Guy. You can always go back and watch it on demand on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Okay, y'all, I think we're just about done, man. So thanks to everybody for watching. We appreciate it greatly. Shout out, of course, Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, for being great sponsors here on Morning Scone for a long time. And if you need an orthopedist, you go to Brock. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Their rain is supposed to be relentless all day. We'd love to give you a free, no obligation roofing inspection. Remember, commercial or residential, no matter how big the job is, repairs and replacements, we do it all at Hudco Roofing. You can click the link or you can give us a call, 364-1007. Restored Motions, we've got pain. Book a session with Crystal Poche, restoredmotions.com, and ProCharge EV. Learn more about those electric vehicle charging stations. State of Louisiana is getting some $80 million in funding for electric vehicle infrastructure for charging stations. There's a grant process available for businesses. If you go to the DOTD website, you can learn more about that. And we'd love to help you. ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Okay, LSU against Kentucky tonight up in Lexington at Rupp Arena. AFR at 3. We're looking forward to being back in the saddle. We'll see y'all then. Have a great day. Peace.